Today we're making mozzarella stuffed jalapeno and cilantro pull-apart bread. Like always, we're going to start off with our dough. 2 tablespoons of yeast, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of dry milk, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and 2 cups of warm water. Mix, and you want to let it sit for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you want to add in 3 more cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a half a cup of olive oil. Knead your dough for 10 minutes, then you want to add it to a floured surface. And you want to create about 14 dough balls. For our filling, I have about a cup of mozzarella cheese, 2 minced jalapenos, and a handful of freshly chopped cilantro. You want to stuff your dough, then add them to a prepared baking sheet. Brush with egg wash, and then you want to bake at 365 for 20 minutes, then 10 more minutes with tin foil on. Here I'm mixing up our little butter mixture. 5 tablespoons of melted butter, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, teaspoon garlic powder, and freshly chopped cilantro, and you're done. Today we're making caramel stuffed chocolate snickerdoodles. You want to begin with 1 cup of packed brown sugar, a half a cup of sugar, and 1 stick of unsalted butter chopped. You want to beat your butter and sugar together for about 3 minutes. Then you want to add in 2 eggs, 1 at a time, 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt and baking soda, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Stuff with soft caramel candies and roll in cinnamon sugar, and we're going to bake at 350 for 18 minutes.
Every single day. And no, I'm not going to Postmates it because I make the most delicious and easy pasta recipes. So if you want to make them too, hit the follow button, hit the share button, and let me take you to Pasta TikTok.
Does anybody else have that snack that they invented when they were younger and it was absolutely delicious and you were super, super proud of it and you made it for everyone, you ate it all the time, you even took pictures of it? Yeah? Okay, so this is mine. It's called a 3 M&M's ball and it's delicious. You start with a 3 Musketeers bar.
Today we're making grilled chicken gyros, not gyros, gyros. It's Greek. 1.5 pound boneless skinless chicken breast. Pound the hump so it cooks evenly. 1/3 cup olive oil. Grate 2 garlic cloves. Grated zest of 1 lemon. Marinate up to 4 hours in the refrigerator. Now we make tzatziki. 1 garlic clove. Grated. 1 tablespoon lemon juice. It mellows the garlic. 7 ounces Greek yogurt. 1/3 English cucumber. Peel. Remove the seeds. Grate. Dash of cayenne. Pinch of salt. Stir. 2 tablespoons chopped dill. 5 pocketless pita. Wrap in foil. 350 degrees, 15 minutes. Heat grill over medium heat. Salt. Pepper. Oil grates. Grill 4 to 5 minutes each side. Remove to rest 8 minutes. Slice.
Hey everyone, it's Ariana, and I think we can all agree that Tiana's beignets and the Princess and the Frog look so unbelievably good. Today we're making them at home, and they're just as good as they look. In a mixer, stir together 1 1/4 cup of warm milk plus 1.5 teaspoons of yeast, and let this bloom for a few minutes. Then add 1/3 cup of sugar and 1.5 cups of flour, and once that's all combined into a batter, you can add an egg, 2 tablespoons of butter, and an additional 2 cups of flour. Switch over to the dough hook and mix it for about 5 minutes on setting 2, and then about 2 minutes on setting 4. After your dough should be all smooth and fluffy, you can also do these steps by hand, but it's just a little bit of a workout. Cover your bowl with plastic and then set it into a warm place to rise for about 2 hours. Once your dough has doubled in size, punch it down using your fist and then roll it out to about 1/3 of an inch thickness. Cut out squares to the size you like and then heat your oil over medium-high, adding your beignets in. You want to make sure that it's bubbling so that they'll fluff up right away. Make sure to keep an eye on them because they brown super quickly, and then I finish them off with a little drizzle of honey and a mound of powdered sugar. Check out the full recipe on my Instagram where I reply to all my followers' comments.
A few years ago, I walked into a fertility clinic to start my egg freezing journey. But my doctor said, "So I've taken a look at your most recent ultrasound." She proceeded to explain that my chances at having a baby were really small. And I started to ask, but how? When I realized that tears were spilling down my face. That night, I thought about every decision I'd made in my entire life, but mostly my first marriage. I was so mad at myself. How could I have been so stupid to marry the wrong man? Wasted my body's fertility on him when I knew I would never agree to have his kids. A month later, in a small apartment in Tribeca, I lay in bed with my then boyfriend Anthony, thinking about all the mistakes I'd made, all the hurts I'd sustained, and I decided Anthony is worth every unhappiness in my entire life. A few hours later, he proposed, and the next morning, I made him some blueberry muffins. My dad used to keep breath mints with him everywhere he went, including at his work desk, and I asked him why once, and he told me because his colleagues complained about his breath. I learned 2 things that day. 1, people didn't like kimchi breath, and 2, people made fun of my dad at work. My dad worked for the U.S. Postal Service for decades, and in all those years, he never brought home a work friend or even mentioned to anyone he talked to. Despite having no friends, every year for the holiday party, my mom would stay up all night long making a huge basket of her egg rolls. I remember when I was around 9 years old, waking up in the middle of the night to see my dad sitting patiently in the living room while my mom frantically fried hundreds of her egg rolls because Daddy couldn't show up to the holiday party without them. It made me think of that one time I brought a tray of cupcakes to school on my birthday, hoping to make more friends. I also remember thinking, they can't stand Daddy's kimchi breath, but they have no problem taking his egg rolls.
These are absolutely insane. Let's make Parmesan garlic chicken tenders. Start off by seasoning down your chicken cubes and going with a bunch of buttermilk. Submerge them. You want to marinate them 4 to 24 hours or until you lose patience. Now go in with some flour and a little cornstarch. Now heavily season it with your favorite seasoning. Don't forget the salt so it's not bland. Now transfer half that mixture to another bowl. And now go in with a bunch of panko breadcrumbs. Now we have the marinated chicken, some of the dry batter, a seasoned egg wash. Now the dry batter with the panko breadcrumb. I'm telling y'all, these boys are about to be crispy. Now take your chicken, go into the dry batter, back into the egg wash, and now into the panko mixture. And now fry. To some melted butter, roast down a bunch of minced garlic. These are so crispy, it's crazy. Remember, you could do these with the whole chicken tender. For the sauce, use some mayo, thyme leaves, your roasted garlic, chili flakes, and a bunch of Parmesan cheese. And now go in with your tenders or nuggets. And now we have final product. Now, bismillah.
Yo, this is how you make shrimp fried rice. Ooh. So you're gonna need your rice, onion, carrot, eggs, shrimp. Basically, it's 1-to-1 ratio with 1 rice and 1 of everything here. We're gonna start with a splash of oil, eggs, another one. Scramble that joint up. Put your egg to the side. A little bit more oil, half a tablespoon of garlic, about 3 tablespoons of scallion. Woo! That's what we call pagitum right here. 150 grains of shrimp. Once the shrimp is cooked about 80%, throw in your onion, 50 grains of carrot, season it with salt, pepper. Yo, anything is good with salt and pepper, but this is my secret. Butter. Throw in your bowl of rice, a tablespoon of soy sauce on your rice, half a tablespoon of sesame oil. Now break that joint up, baby. Put your eggs back right in. Woo.
Mashed potatoes should not have lumps. These are the best. Another episode, back to basics. 3 pounds russet potatoes, or you can use Yukon Golds. Wash them, don't be dirty. 1-inch dice. Fill with cold water till they cook evenly. Bring to a bubble over high heat. Toast your salt vigorously. Bubble 10 to 12 minutes. Return to the pot. The heat of the pot will evaporate the excess moisture. Don't skip this step. If you do, they'll be watery. Let it set 5 minutes. 3/4 cup unsalted butter. 1/2 cup heavy cream. Melt the butter and warm the cream medium-low heat. Use a ricer or food mill. No lumps. Add the butter and the cream. Truffle salt because you're fancy. Truffle oil because you're extra fancy.
Today we're making cream cheese and strawberry jam danishes. You want to start off with 1 cup of warm milk, 2½ teaspoons of yeast, 1/3 cup of sugar mixed and set aside. In your mixer bowl attachment, you want to add 4 egg yolks, 4 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons of sour cream, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 6 tablespoons room temperature butter unsalted. After about 10 minutes, add your yeast mixture in last and knead your dough for 15 minutes. Add your dough to an oiled bowl, cover and let it rest for 1 hour. You want to separate your dough into about 10 dough balls. Here I'm showing you the cream cheese filling. I have all the ingredients listed on the screen for you guys, as well as the crumble that we're going to top our danishes with as well. You want to pat your dough down gently and then create a little divot. Brush on some egg wash and you want to add to a prepared baking sheet. Fill with your cream cheese filling, some strawberry jam, and your crumble. Bake at 350 for about 18 to 20 minutes and you're done. Today we're making fluffy churro waffles with homemade chocolate sauce. You want to begin with 2 to 3 cups of all-purpose flour. The amount of flour you add in depends on how dense you want your waffles. I love thick waffles, so I added 3 cups, but if you like more light and airy waffles, I would say 2. A tablespoon of baking powder, 1/4 cup of sugar, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. In a separate bowl, you want to add 1 3/4 cups of milk, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 2 egg yolks, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You want to add your wet mixture into your dry ingredients. And you want to beat your 2 egg whites until they're nice and fluffy. Add it to your batter and fold it in gently. Now go ahead and make your waffles. You want to melt a 1/2 stick of butter and brush it on both sides. Coat your waffles in cinnamon sugar and serve with your chocolate sauce. I'll have the ingredients on the screen for you guys, but we're done. Today we're making homemade Oreo cinnamon rolls. Before we get into the recipe, I want you guys to comment which you prefer, light or heavy frosting. But to begin, you need 1 cup of warm milk, 2 1/2 teaspoons of yeast, a 1/2 cup of sugar, mix and set aside for 10 minutes. Here I'm adding 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/3 cup of room temperature butter unsalted. After your 10 minutes, add your yeast mixture in last and knead your dough for 10 minutes. Add your dough to an oiled bowl, cover and let it rest for 1 hour. For our filling, I crushed up about a 1/2 cup worth of Oreos. Added it to the rest of our ingredients. I'll have the list on the screen for you guys. But after your dough has rested for 1 hour, add it to a floured surface and roll it out. Add your filling, roll it up, and cut into pieces. Let them rest for another 30 minutes. Then you want to bake at 350 for about 25 to 30 minutes. The ingredients for the frosting will be on the screen for you guys. Sprinkle with some more crushed Oreos and you're done. Today we're making salted caramel stuffed chocolate chip and pretzel cookies. You want to start with 1 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of white sugar, and 1 stick of cold butter chopped. Beat your butter and sugar together for about 3 minutes. Add 2 eggs, 1 at a time, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then add 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1/2 cup of chocolate chips, and a handful of pretzels. Stuffing our cookies with soft caramel candies, topping with pretzels and flaky salt. Bake at 350 for about 17 to 20 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making arrayas. It's a Middle Eastern style street food, basically pita bread stuffed with meat. And if you want the recipe for the pita bread, it's in my last video. You want to start by grating 1 onion and 2 tomatoes. And you also want to mince 1 bell pepper and 1 jalapeno. Here I have about 2 pounds of ground beef in a large bowl. Add in all of your veggies. And we're going to season with a tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of allspice and curry, as well as a teaspoon of black pepper and garlic. Add a 1/3 cup of pomegranate sauce. You can find it in your local Middle Eastern market. Mix everything together well with your hands, then you want to grab your pita bread. Again, the recipe is in my last video, but you want to open it up about halfway. Add a very thin layer of your meat. Brush olive oil on the top and the bottom and bake at 450 for about 8 to 10 minutes. Serve with shafta and you're done. Today we're making homemade pita bread. There will also be a recipe up tomorrow showing what I stuffed them with, so stay tuned for that. But to begin, you need 1 cup of warm water, 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, mix and set aside. Here I'm sifting 4 cups of all-purpose flour, adding 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, as well as 2 teaspoons of vinegar. After letting your yeast mixture sit for 10 minutes, go ahead and add it in last. While your dough is in your mixer, add 1/3 cup of warm water as well. If you feel like your dough is still stiff, add a tablespoon of water until it's nice and smooth. You want to knead your dough for 15 minutes, add to an oiled bowl, cover and let it rest for 2 hours. After 2 hours, add your dough to a lightly floured surface and create 14 dough balls. You want to let those rest for another 20 minutes. Roll them out pretty thin, then let them rest for another 20 minutes. Preheat your oven to 550. Toss in your bread and you want to keep your eye on them, they cook very fast. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, and once they develop a nice color and they puff up nicely, you're done. We're making buffalo chicken mac and cheese. I went ahead and boiled my pasta and got it out of the way. Added about 2 to 3 cups of heavy cream to a saucepan and about 2 ounces of cream cheese, and I let that come to a simmer on stovetop. Minced 6 cloves of garlic and sauteed it in a saucepan with 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. After about 4 minutes, I added in 2 tablespoons of flour. Let that cook for another 4 minutes. Added in my heavy cream mixture and all of my cheese, 1/3 cup of buffalo sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder, salt, black pepper, and cayenne. Mix everything together well and then add in your pasta. You want to grab a baking dish and layer your macaroni. Add some cheese and the rest of your pasta. And more cheese if you'd like, and I also made some buffalo chicken bites. I used the same recipe I used for my buffalo chicken tenders. You can find it on my page. Add your chicken on top and we're going to bake at 350 for about 25 minutes. I finished off my mac and cheese with some green onions and it was ready to serve.
Hey everyone, it's Ariana, and today is National Baked Cookies Day, so to celebrate, my friends at American Eagle challenged me to make a perfect cookie recipe for the holidays. These peppermint hot chocolate cookies are some of my favorites and start out by melting 6 ounces of baking chocolate with 4 tablespoons of butter. Then I whisk together 3/4 of a cup of flour with half a teaspoon of baking powder, pinch of salt, and 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Then in a mixer, I beat together 2 eggs, a half a cup of brown sugar, and the chocolate mixture until it was nice and smooth, and then add in the dry ingredients. Finally, I like to add in a teaspoon of vanilla, 8 ounces of chocolate chunks, and a half a teaspoon of peppermint extract. The cookie dough should be super thick, almost like brownie batter, so stick it into the fridge to chill for 30 minutes to an hour to make sure it's easy to roll into balls. Then add them to a baking sheet, making sure to space them out by a couple inches. Bake at 325 for about 10 minutes and then top with marshmallow halves and bake for about 4 minutes more. In the meantime, I like to use a rolling pin to crush up some candy canes, which are perfect for topping, along with a little drizzle of chocolate. You have got to try these cookies. They're gooey and chocolatey with a little bit of peppermint running through. Check out the full recipe on my Instagram. Hey everyone, it's Ariana, and not long ago, Addison Rae followed me on TikTok. To celebrate in the only way I know how, I decided to make Italian food, which according to the internet is Addison's favorite. To start our classic penne alla vodka, I boiled 16 ounces of penne in salted water, and then busted open a 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes and blended them in the food processor. Then in a large pan goes 2 tablespoons of butter, 3 cloves of minced garlic, and a half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, plus the tomatoes. Give it a mix, and then add in 1/4 of a cup of vodka. Don't worry, fellow miners, all the alcohol cooks out. Simmer the sauce for 10 minutes on low, and then add in 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese and a cup of heavy cream, giving it another mix, and then season to taste with salt and pepper. Give it one last simmer for 5 minutes on low to thicken up, and then drain your pasta when it's al dente and add it to the sauce. Oh, look at that. At this point, my entire house smelled absolutely amazing, and this dish could not be complete without another sprinkle of Parmesan, fresh parsley, and more chili flakes. Everyone tag Addison so she sees this. Addison, if you're watching, I would love to cook for you one day. Full recipes on my Instagram where I'm answering all my followers' comments. Hey everyone, it's Ariana, and today I'm putting Gordon Ramsay, Bobby Flay, and Martha Stewart's grilled cheese recipes head to head to see which one comes out on top. Gordon Ramsay layers Asiago and Romano cheese on thickly cut multigrain bread, and then his secret ingredient is kimchi, which is this salty, sour, and spicy Korean fermented cabbage. He cooks his grilled cheese over an open flame, but I just cooked it on high heat to try and emulate that. Bobby Flay starts by frying up 2 slices of thick cut bacon until they're nice and crispy, and then buttering 2 slices of white bread, and then he adds brie cheese onto one side. On top of that, he crumbles goat cheese, then adds the bacon, salt and pepper, and fresh greens. He also adds green tomato, but I couldn't get my hands on one, and then fries it till it's nice and golden on both sides. Martha Stewart's grilled cheese takes an interesting sweet approach. She adds fig jam, sliced Gruyere cheese, and sliced pear to one side of her bread, topping it with the other side, and then frying it till it's golden. And now for the taste test. I really like the cheeses and kimchi inside Chef Ramsay's grilled cheese, but it was a little burnt on the outside, and the cheese didn't fully melt because of the high heat. I also really love Bobby Flay's flavor combo, but I think I have to give the win to Martha because the pear and fig jam was amazing.
I showed you how to make profiteroles. Now let's make vanilla pastry cream. To fill them, because you fancy. 5 egg yolks. 2/3 cup sugar. That's the texture you want. Cornstarch. 1½ cups milk, room temp. Add to a 2-quart pot. Simmer. Stir. 5 to 7 minutes. Don't curdle the cream. Cook until thickened, just like that. That's the texture you want, like pudding. Splash of vanilla. Vanilla bean, because you fancy. Whisk vigorously. 1 tablespoon heavy cream, 1 tablespoon butter. Whisk, makes it shiny. Suffocate it so it doesn't make a skin. Poke it, release the steam. Pipe it with pastry cream. Whew. It's time for some good old-fashioned apple pie. 4 pounds firm crisp apples. Use a variety for flavor and texture. Lemon juice so they don't turn brown. Peel, core, in 1/2 cup sugar. 1/2 cup light brown sugar. 2½ teaspoons cinnamon. 1½ teaspoons allspice. Nutmeg. Toss. Don't be sissy. 2 12-inch skillets. Both skillets, medium heat. Melt 1 stick butter. Divide among pans. Divide the apples. Bring to a bubble. Reduce to medium-low. Stir periodically. 1/4 cup flour. Divide among pans. Stir 1 minute until combined. 1½ teaspoon good vanilla extract. Divide among pans. Cool. Double the recipe. Don't blind bake it. Sparkling sugar, because you fancy. 425 degrees, 15 minutes. Reduced temp, 350 degrees, 45 minutes. Don't open the door. Want to eat better so you can feel better and still eat meat? Today, we're making tacos. 2 tablespoons avocado oil. 1½ teaspoon smoked paprika. 1½ teaspoon chili powder. 4 garlic cloves, minced. In 2 chipotle in adobo. Makes it spicy. Minced. Stir. 1½ pounds Australian grass-fed skirt steak. It's naturally leaner, comparably lower in calories than other proteins, and delicious. Marinate 4 hours to overnight. 1 cup sour cream or crema. 1/4 cup lime juice. 2 teaspoons sugar. Whisk. Heat grill a grill pan over medium heat. Salt, pepper. Boil the grapes. Grill 2 minutes on each side. Remove to rest, 8 minutes. Corn tortillas. Dice the meat, it makes it easier to eat the taco. Pineapple, lime crema, cilantro.
I've been wanting to make Gigi Hadid's vodka pasta recipe for a while now, but obviously without the vodka, so this is how you do it. Chop up 1 medium-sized onion and a handful of garlic. Boil some water and cook your pasta. Once your pasta is done cooking, go ahead and take some of the pasta water out and set that to the side. In a pan, add some olive oil and saute your onions and garlic. Here I'm adding 2 cans of tomato paste and sauteing that for about 5 minutes. After that, go ahead and add in some heavy cream. I added in about 1.5 cups and I mixed that in. Now as the replacement for the vodka, I use a tablespoon of lemon juice. Added in some crushed red pepper, a half a stick of butter, salt and pepper to season. Turned off the heat and added in some Parmesan cheese and a little bit of the pasta water that we saved. Added in my pasta and that's pretty much it. I topped it with some dry basil because I didn't have any fresh, some crushed red pepper flakes, and there you go. I also tripled the recipe because I have a big family, so keep that in mind.
Hey, here's how I make a breakfast sandwich.
Yo, this is how you make sundubu jjigae. Ooh! First start with a half a tablespoon of garlic, tablespoon of chopped up scallions, 2 tablespoons of onions, another 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. Let that sweat, baby. Ooh! Tablespoon of pepper powder, half a tablespoon of pepper flakes, tablespoon of soy sauce, pinch of black pepper. Let that joint mix together. Now add in your anchovy tashima stock. Ooh. Bring it to boil. Ooh. Salt to taste. A little bit of squid. A little bit of shrimp. About 4 to 5 pieces of baby clam. 2 tablespoons of clam juice. Mushrooms. 2 tablespoons of onions. 200 grams of tofu. Make sure to break your tofu up gently to big chunks of pieces. Now finish it with an egg. Yabuseo.
Let's make Disneyland churros. We're gonna need 1 cup of water, a half a cup of butter, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now dissolve and bring to a boil. Now that it's boiling, remove from heat. Now add 1 cup of flour and start mixing immediately. Make sure you press down with your spoon so you can dissolve the flour completely. Now let's let it cool completely before we start adding the eggs. Now that the batter's completely cooled down, add your first egg. Mix really well. All right, guys, this is the 3rd egg. All right, guys, my batter is ready. Look at this, beautiful. Add liquid shortening to your caso. Get a piping bag with the star tip. Put your batter inside the piping bag. If you see that sizzle, it's ready. Pour your batter. You're gonna need a cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. Mix really well. Fry 2 minutes each side. Once it's ready, let it drain just a little. Now put it into your sugar. Add your sugar. Listo! And enjoy. I'm gonna be using my homemade habanero guacamole in my birria burrito. Look at this big tortilla I'm going to be using for my birria burrito. Make sure that you already have the birria ready. If you want to learn how to make birria, go check out my video. Have your cilantro and onion ready. Now let's chop our meat. Chop it really fine. Have your refried beans ready. And now heat your tortilla. First layer is mozzarella cheese. Now your meat. So consommé, some refried beans, Mexican red rice, some homemade guacamole, more onion, more cilantro. Now you roll it. Let's see if I can. Look how beautiful this is. Now add a little bit of oil and you're gonna slightly fry them. Flip. Now let's drizzle consommé on the top. Once you flip, you wanna add more consommé. This is ready. Now cut, dip, and enjoy.
You won't believe how easy it is to make these crispy French fries in the air fryer. First, cut up your potatoes and remove all the moisture with a paper towel. Add olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. And the trick to making extra crispy is the little flour. Air fry 15 minutes, 375. Try it, you might like it.
I knew you weren't gonna wash this out.
Shut up. Can you please be quiet? I think I put too much. It's okay.
What?
Take the trash out.
What trash?
Right there. It definitely is. It's hot.
Pollo asado street tacos, boneless skinless chicken thigh, flatten out with a knife. Massage the lime and orange into a bowl for the marinade. Goes orange juice, lime juice, cumin, chili powder, salt, pepper, chili flakes, paprika, oregano, cilantro, garlic, and some sliced onion. Now you're gonna go onto indirect heat on the grill. You're gonna let that go for like 18 minutes. You're gonna catch some vibrations outside, maybe get a few reps in. Then you can go over. Finally dice your onion. It's like yike, and then you're gonna get some nice dices. Now you're gonna chop up some cilantro. Don't be lazy like me. Last time everyone was getting on my head for being lazy. You know, oil taco shells is easy. Now you're gonna go on direct heat after 18 minutes on a 400-degree non-direct heat. Now you're gonna get that nice and charred. Get some nice black spots under there. Once you get that, it should be good to go. Let that rest for a few minutes. You want those juices to settle down on the inside so they stay juicy. Then you start yeeting at it. You're going to get a nice chopped up chicken. Still juicy, still tender. Building is easy. Taco shell, chicken, onion, cilantro. That salsa. Yes, sir.